Hey Yarn Crew, it's Heather Storms from Funky Thumb Crochet, and today you are going to watch me figure out this pint-sized ice cream cozy pattern. I've already have one written. It's for the pint, but I've come to discover that they have a different size, which is a 414 milliliter. So as you can see here, this one is for 473. And I figured I want to do a tutorial on how I go about writing my patterns. So I figured I would just rewrite a pattern for this and take you through it step by step. So if you've been wanting to learn how to write a pattern, stick around and we will figure it out one funky stitch at a time, all right? So to get started, pick your item, whatever it be. And also too, if you like and subscribe and leave me a comment on maybe something you've seen that you would like to make a cozy for, or something you have tried, drop it in the comments and let's see if we can get you a pattern written, all right? And I'll do a tutorial on it. How about that, okay? All right, so first thing I start off with is making a title for my pattern. So I'm not really gonna call it a pint size because I've already got the pint-sized ice cream cozy pattern. So we'll just label this one ice cream cozy pattern. And then in parentheses, I'm going to put the 414 milliliter. That way I know when I go to type up my pattern for my Etsy account. All right, also you're going to want to know what yarn type you're using because you will forget if you don't write it down. I think the Big Twist was Joanne's brand, rest in peace. I always, when doing my cozies, use 100% cotton because if you use acrylic or anything else like that, your hands are going to get wet and your cozy is going to get soggy. Let's see, what I want is this information right here. I'm going to be using the medium weight, so we'll want to make note of that on our pattern and that it is 100% cotton. All right, so let's go ahead and write Big Twist. And please do not judge me on my handwriting. That is not what we're here for. I am not into calligraphy or anything like that. So Big Twist, it's the medium weight. I'll just put a 4 there. Okay, and next thing you want to determine is your hook size. Now normally with most of my patterns that I write for my Etsy account are usually done in a 3.5, but I figured I would do something a little different, and so we're going to go with the 5. I think also too, of course, using a bigger hook, you know, our patterns are going to work up a little bit quicker. So let's try the 5. Okay. Now, also too, when writing your patterns, if a row or a round is going to be repetitive, like all of my rounds end with a slip stitch into the first chain made, I will at the beginning of each of my patterns make like an asterisk, and I will write that in the notes at the beginning of the pattern. That way, as they are reading through it, they can be like, oh, okay, so I know for sure now at the end of each round, I'm going to have to do this. That way I'm not having to write it down after every single round. I don't want to do that. I like to make this as simple as possible for myself and for the reader. Okay, so first things first, off to the side, I always like to make my little rounds over here, or your rows, whatever it is you're going to be writing your pattern for. All right, so round 1, I always start my patterns with the magic ring. Also too, at the beginning of your patterns, you can always make a little box and say like you want to do abbreviations. So for like MR, you would write equals magic ring, or SC equals single crochet, because most abbreviations are general for most patterns. Most of the time. There have been some I've had to look up because I'm like, I don't know what this is. So, all right, so magic ring is what I always start each of my patterns with. So we are going to be working in the round, and we're going to make a circle to fit the bottom of this. So all we're going to do is work up a round to make this size, and we're going to keep track of our rounds right here, as well as at the end of each round we will mark how many stitches are in each round, so that way the reader of our pattern will be able to keep track to make sure they have the right amount of stitches after each round. All right, so let's get started. Maybe. I'm not much for editing, so mistakes, whatever, phone sounds, my husband's phone's going off, he gets a lot of emails, will be in the video, so I do apologize. And it's early. It is Black Friday as well, so for those of you out shopping, kudos to you, but I am not one of those. All right, so this video is not about my actual crocheting. This is about pattern writing. So I will be making new videos on breaking each of these patterns down step by step slowly, but this, you're here for writing a pattern. So magic ring, that's it. That's the first one I got written there. So I'm going to do 6 single crochets. And this is usually how I start most. I'm pretty consistent about starting my patterns out this way. So magic ring, comma, single crochet 6 into magic ring. All right, and that is leaving us with 6 stitches. So round 2, and your first one's gonna be a mess. So that's why I don't go for perfection writing this out, because I'm gonna make mistakes. You know, you're gonna change stitches, whatever. It does not have to be perfect. That is not what I'm here for. All right, so each of my rounds, I always start with a chain 1. And I don't usually write that at the beginning. I will just go ahead and do chain 1 at the beginning of each round. So I just always write chain 1. All right, so it's going to be an increase round. So sometimes you can do 2 single crochets in each stitch around, which is fine. That just means you're increasing. But since this is, you know, for me, my personal use, I'm just gonna write increase in each stitch around. And if my math is mathing, that's going to give us 12. All right, and since I already know to end each of my rounds, and if you want to work in a continuous round instead of chaining, or I'm sorry, slip stitching, then make a note of that in your pattern. This is your pattern, do with it what you will. I like the look of having those little chains where you can see where it's got the little bars all at my work. That's just my personal preference. It's kind of like my signature look, I think. So that's just what I like. All right, so I'm gonna increase this round. This pattern is very versatile, so it can be made into lots of things. But like I said, if there's something you would like to see made and written into a pattern, shoot me a comment and we will see about getting that item made, and we'll just work it up together. All right, so on to round 3, and then always keep your item close, because of course, as you can see, that's clearly not going to be big enough, so we already know we're gonna make some more rounds. Excuse me. All right, so round 3, we're gonna chain 1, and then in my patterns, I also make notes that if you see an asterisk in my pattern, means you're going to repeat that row or what's in between that, which is usually pretty common for most patterns written. All right, so it's gonna be a single crochet increase, and I always put around. All right, and I think, I don't remember how many that might be 18 stitches, but we'll wait to count. All right, so we're gonna single crochet, increase, around. That one. And let's see how many we got. Sorry about that. Let me just shake you up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, because we don't count that last chain right there. All right, round 4. Start with our chain 1. And then, since it's another increase, because it's clearly not going to be big enough, we are going to single crochet in next 2 stitches, followed by an increase, and that will be around, and that should be 24. Okay, so 2 increase around, and this is a perfect way to test your pattern instead of just writing it out and hoping it'll work. To the top and chain. All right, so that was round 4. So for round 5, let's see what we got here. Looks like we're probably going to do 1 more. So let's chain 1, and we are going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches, followed by an increase, which should give us 30. So we've got single crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and increase. And let's give it a measure. Yeah, we'll work with that. Okay. So for round 6, this one's going to be, after our chain 1, I always do back loop only. And that is because now that we have the bottom piece made, we're going to have to work our way up the piece, which means we will be putting a stitch in that back loop only. So we got to make note of that, back loop only. And we are going to single crochet in each stitch around. And since we're not increasing, that'll still leave us with 30 stitches. So in the back loop only, single crochet in each stitch around. Perfect. All right, now I will usually do a few rows of single crochets that will work their way up the item before I put in an increase row, because as you can see how your item is made, it's just a slow, kind of like incline. So about right here is where I want to put in my first set of increases. But if you choose to do differently, you can start increasing here. You know, if you want to make this pattern your own, go for it. That's what I'm here for. Okay, so let's say, let's start with round 7. I'll go ahead and put a little dash there. Then we'll just measure it as we go. See how many rows of single crochets we actually want. Let's do one more and then we'll take a look at it. All right, let's see what that looks like. I'll just slip it on. Yeah. So I think I'm going to do, let's see, 6, 7, 8. Let's go to row 10. Let's do row 10. I lied. Let's do 9. 7 through 9. Chain 1, single crochet in each stitch around. That will still give us 30. All right, so for round 10, there we go. We're going to chain 1 and single crochet in the next. And so this is an increase round. I only do an increase in the middle and then at the end. And so since there are 30 stitches, that's 15. And so we'll have to single crochet in the next 14 stitches. And then I'll have to have 2 stitches to increase in. 14, 15. And then that should give us 32 stitches because we're only adding 2 stitches to each row. So let's see if our math is mathing and this works out evenly. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, increase. Perfect. Our mathed. All right, everybody needs coffee after that. Perfect. All right. And what I usually like to do after a round, or not after a round, after an increase round, is I like to put about 2 rows of increase rounds between them. So let's do round 11 through 12. We'll chain 1, single crochet in each stitch around, which will still give us 32 stitches. There we go. And that is with our first increase round and 2 rows of single crochets. Okay, so now we're ready for our next increase round. So that will be round 13. So round 13, we'll squeeze it in there. We're gonna chain 1 like always. And since we single crocheted 14 in our last increase round, this one will be single crochet in the next 15 stitches, followed by an increase. And since we're only adding 2 stitches, that will give us 34 stitches in this round. All right, so next 15 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah. So nice when our stitches come out right. Okay. So, like before, let's put 2 single crochet rounds in there. So that will be rounds 14 through 15. We're going to chain 1 single crochet in each stitch around, which will still give us 34 stitches. Yeah, it's that time. Okay, there's 14 and number 15. Okay. Ready, yarn baby, hang on. All right. it's working up pretty quickly. Okay, so now we're going to need another increased round. This will be round 16. Okay. So since we increased this round and we had 16 stitches, I'm going to chain 1, single crochet in the next 16 stitches, followed by an increase, adding 2 stitches, so that gives us 36 in this round. So 16, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Increase. All right, now since we're getting pretty close to the top, because we don't need it to go, at least I don't need my pattern to go all the way up. So this is where everybody differs. If you want to stop here, that's fine. You can do a finishing row of whatever type you want, or whether you slip stitch across, or however you want to do your ending row. Me, I'm going to probably, let's see what it looks like with one more single crochet round. So we'll just write 17 like that. So we're going to chain 1, single crochet in each stitch around, just in case I want to add another row. And there'll still be 36 stitches. Okay. Looks like we are getting there. You know what? That looks pretty good to me. So with all of my cozies, I like to put, for my ending round, to be a reverse single crochet. You'll find it in all of my patterns. And also too, if you're writing a pattern to sell, if you have a stitch that's a little different, you might want to, at the beginning of your pattern, describe how to do that. So for my reverse single crochet, not a lot of people will know how to do that. So I will leave an asterisk at the beginning with my abbreviations and things like that, explaining how to do that stitch. I also believe on a lot of my patterns, I include photos of myself making these stitches step by step, so that way people also have a visual. And also too, now I could probably link a tutorial from my YouTube channel through these patterns as well. So there's different ways to do lots of stuff. So all right, so I'm just gonna write reverse single crochet in each stitch around, which will still give us 36 stitches. And I like the reverse single crochet because it gives you like, it's like a rope. It just, I don't know, it just leaves like this really cool finished look. It reminds me of a little rope. So, I don't know. It's just me. It's my personal preference. But like I said, these patterns can be altered. And then once we get this on, and if you find that it's still too short, then take this row out, add another single crochet round. It's very versatile, and nothing's final. In my previous tutorials, I do actually break it down and show you how to make this stitch. I am actually working on revising all of my videos, so this is just the first of many. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Also too, don't forget to leave a comment if there's something you want to see made. Challenge me. I'm all for it. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and finish that off. Alright. See the little texture it leaves? I just love that look. Alright. There we have it. I think that works out pretty well. And now, when I go to the Dollar General and buy an ice cream pint, as opposed to going to Walmart and getting their pint, I'll have a cozy for this one or a cozy for this one. So, yeah. I don't know if it's just the brand or what, but these are clearly two different sizes. Yeah. I'm getting gypped. But it is what it is. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I just want to say thanks for hanging out with me today. And so if you've stitched along, just let me know how yours turned out in the comments. Also too, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and join me next time here at Funky Thumb Crochet, where we keep learning and creating one funky stitch at a time. I will see you on the next one.